Greetings, actives, and welcome to the March Founders Zoom. Dave and I are happy to be here, as always, on the 15th of the month. If you're new to actives, welcome. This is your first Founders Call. We do this, as I mentioned, every single month. And I think, David, today we actually have quite a few new people joining us on this English Zoom because our English-speaking market is growing. We have a lot of, I'll say they're not new to network marketing, but they're brand new to actives. And I want to make sure that to give them a cordial welcome to this Zoom. We have for those of you who are new, once again, what we like to do is talk about some of the highlights from the previous month, some of the moments that really stood out to us, and give you a glimpse of what we see coming around the corner. So let's go ahead and get started. David, how are you doing? I know that you are practically buried by several feet of snow there in Utah, but that's great because you guys, just like we in California, are finally getting out of this drought that's been affecting our states for such a long time.
Absolutely. In fact, I think that you could say that actives is mirroring the weather in the sense that we often talk about the saying, March comes in like a lion or goes out like a lamb or vice versa. Well, both in terms of actives and the weather here in Utah and California, March has come in like a lion, and actives continues to build on the momentum that it has. And I guess here we're kind of buried with snow, and we've had an avalanche of growth in actives. And I'll stop murdering that metaphor anymore at that point. But things really are going strongly. I'm just hoping it doesn't go out like a lamb, and I don't think it will, because as you said, there's a lot of new people joining. Some of the people, isn't it interesting to know that, and sometimes we're not aware of this, either individually or collectively, that people really do pay more attention than you think that they do. And there are people on the sidelines looking, intrigued, wondering, who are those guys? There seems to be something that's a little bit different. Let's just see if they stick around. Let's see if they buck the odds of most companies, if they're just kind of a pop and drop and flame out quickly. Oh, wow, they're still around. They're growing. We're hearing about them in more countries. We find out more about their products. And that's really kind of the momentum that we find ourselves in right now. And it's exciting. That's
right. Yeah, it really is. I like your metaphor. I think it works. And for those of you who live on the west side of the country, it is exciting, all the snow and rain that we're finally getting. And I do feel like, to some extent, a metaphor for actives. I shouldn't say that. We've been growing and really breaking records and tracking ahead of where many of the big companies that have been around for 30, 40 years. I've been doing a lot of comparison lately, David, and looking at their revenue, right, that they posted back in the day, back when they started. And I've been excited to see that, wow, Actives is actually tracking ahead of some of these really big companies that everybody knows about and talks about that have been around for a long time. So it's reassuring and reminds me that we're certainly in the right place at the right time. But I think to an extent, some pockets and some regions of the country where we haven't had growth, I do feel like we're finally starting to really get going, and we're really at a tipping point in the company, specifically in the U.S. and specifically in the U.S. market. Many of you know that we held off for a long time, really focusing on this market. We launched the company in Mexico for all the reasons that you've heard, for all the right reasons, and then have focused on getting a real strong foothold throughout Latin America. That success has spilled over into the U.S., and we have a really big and rapidly growing Latin market here in the U.S., and now the English-speaking market is really starting to take off. So it's exciting. February was the shortest month of the year. It was a short month for us, and I'll say that following an incredible January, David, I was a little bit nervous about how we were going to fare in February, and we hit it out of the park. And that's evidenced, and just to kind of highlight some of, my favorite moments for this last month were really the rank advancements. We had 3 new legacy A12s rank advance. We had 5 new A10s. We had an A9. We had boy, I don't know how many A8s. I'm looking here at my chart, but we had several A8s, bunch of A7s. But anyways, it was for the shortest month of the year, it was pretty good, right? 3 people hitting the rank of A12. One of those people was actually the second business center of someone who's actually an A14 in the company. So that was pretty impressive. But that to me, it makes me want to pinch myself to say, okay, is this really happening? Is this really our company, David? Are these people that we know and love and care about really reaching their goals? The answer is yes. And so that really for me was on the heels of a very short month, kind of the cherry on the cake, the icing on the cake for me, and just knowing that, hey, there's a lot of reassurance, and we're digging ourselves out of that snow, as you put it.
Absolutely.
What are you looking forward to this month?
Well, a microcosm of what you just talked about is going to lead me to have an exciting experience this week. Over the years, I've traveled a lot, as have you, and it seems like it's fairly rare these days to go to some place for the first time that we've never been to before. And yet this week, I'll be going to El Paso, Texas. And you talked about how we started in Mexico, and that excitement has spilled over into the United States. And that's a perfect example. We have a thriving El Paso group that was first started by Susana Gutierrez from Torreon, reaching over across the border to her friend Noemi Vinale. And there's a great mixture of English and Spanish, and they've invited me down, and we're going to have a great group there, and that's exciting. And that's exactly what I think you're talking about. I wouldn't necessarily have guessed when we started out in developing actives that El Paso, Texas would become a hotspot, but that's happened before. We've seen other cities that have with other companies that have become really leading lights. There was a city we referred to before, Houma, Louisiana. Most people on this call have never heard of Houma. But I can tell you with the previous company, Houma, Louisiana was doing more than Chicago, was doing more than Los Angeles, was doing more than New York City, was doing certainly more than New Orleans. And it was, I don't know, it was a city of 100,000, maybe 150,000. And it was just incredible. So you never know where that spark's going to take, is going to catch fire, really catch on and spread. And I'm excited about what's going on in El Paso and so many other areas across, not just the United States, but frankly, in all the markets that we're in right now. It's things are really, now I'm mixing my metaphors, going from snow to fire, but hey, whatever. It's working all the way.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Success can occur anywhere, and I think that's what we're seeing, and that's the message, and that's important for everybody to understand that. I'm not at all surprised that we're taking off in El Paso. I've been there for many years because El Paso is right on the other side of a little city named Juarez, Mexico, which is one of our, in spite of all the challenges, one of our most dynamic cities in the entire company, where we have an A12, we have A10s, we have people just really cranking. And so it's almost like one city between, that of El Paso and Juarez. So it is very exciting to see everything that's happening in El Paso, and everything that's happening in all the small towns across the United States. I want to point something out. Last month, I talked a lot. We've talked a lot about some of the new rank advancements. I know that recently I spent quite a bit of time talking about, a couple of weeks ago, talking about a single mom named Jessica Gonzalez, who she actually just reached the rank of A10, and she had the opportunity to take she and her 2 daughters on the Momentum Escape trip. It's the first time she'd ever done that. I don't want to repeat what I've already talked about, but I did want to today kind of highlight again a few of these little success stories, because that was very exciting, and I shared that on previous Zooms. But I was really excited, David, this last month to see some of the rank advancements. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. We do that on our Wednesday call. We do it in Spanish on our Thursday calls every single week. But one of the A12s that I was really impressed with is we call her in Spanish, we call her Tia Luz, right? Or Mami Luz. It's Lucy Sarah's mom, Luz Sarah, who hit the rank of Legacy A12. And if any of you out there think, oh, you know what, my mom could never do this, my dad could never do this, you know, my aunt could never do it, I'll just tell you, yes, they can. So I want to just congratulate Luz Sarah on that very inspiring rank advancement, and to the whole Sarah family out in Chiapas, Mexico. And then the other person I did want to highlight, I mentioned we had 5 new leader A10s rank advances last month, but one of them is someone who's been with us for a long time and who's really she's really helped out with a lot of things, developing tools for us, trainings for us. She's a licensed nutritionist, and it's Annette Jimenez, who many of you know. So she hit the rank of A10, and it's really great because she has a full-time practice. She's a mom. You know, we know her son Matthew, played soccer with him, but she's got her hands full, to say the least. And so it was very impressive that she hit the rank of A10, and for all the other people that rank advanced to 9, 8, 7, so on and so forth, 6, 5, 4, keep going, and you keep believing in yourself, because that is really the common denominator, David, that I'm seeing in the people who are reaching their goals, right, and really making it. They're people who don't quit on themselves. I've been asked a lot over the years, you know, why do people fail? Why do they succeed? I've thought about that, and I can remember when I left my first job. I left my first job in 2002 that I started in 95 at Nu Skin. I remember feeling like, boy, I could write a book on why people fail in this industry, because I felt like I really, I'd spent a lot of time with the distributors there. But the book about how they succeed would be very short. And I can remember thinking about this back then. It would be a small one-sided brochure, and all it would say is, don't quit. Right? That's why people succeed, is they don't quit. They continue, they're persistent, they follow their game plan, their action plan, they take action every day, but they don't quit. And so the people who rank advanced last month, some of them joined us a few months ago, some of them have been with us for 5 years, but they just, you know, they haven't quit. So congratulations to all of them. And I wanted to point out those two. I also, you know, kind of talking about success, this month of March, we've got some huge things happening. It's a longer month, fewer distractions. Boy, David, I mean, today's the middle of the month and we're up about 20% over last month. And that's really, really exciting to see. So I want to talk a little bit about what we have going. Obviously, you all know that this is the last month to find your 5 new business partners, which is the first step in qualifying for the Momentum Escape trip. So make sure that you don't let these last 2 weeks go by without taking full advantage of that, and make sure that you're looking for those, you know, just complete those 5 enrollments, right? You had all the month of February, you got all the month of March. I think it's something that's very doable. It's within everybody's reach. And then, of course, you're going to teach each one of them to duplicate with just one other person. You're going to hit A4. You're going to get them on auto ship, right? There's some other details. But guys, we were looking at the numbers yesterday, David, on how many people we have in the running currently to qualify for this next Momentum Escape trip to New York and Las Vegas, or the Hilton Puerto Vallarta, whichever one people prefer to attend. And I think we were more than double where we were when we were about halfway through our first Momentum Escape. I know that Ryan Mumford was like, oh my gosh, you know, we're doing great. People are really running hard. And we had 77 people qualify last period. So how many people are going to qualify this month? Hopefully more than double that. Anyway, so that's exciting. And I just want to put that out there. And well, David, I'm going to pass it back over to you, because I know that you're talking about El Paso, and I know that you're headed out there very soon. And what else are you looking forward to? We've got some big things around the corner.
Absolutely. Well, let me look back a little bit. We just had English active school earlier this month. Christina Godoy, our Legacy A16, was a speaker, and she did an outstanding job. Diane Young also spoke and did an excellent job as well. And it reminds me that, sometimes when we are utilizing technology, whether it be things on our car or our phone or our laptop, we find something new and say, wow, I didn't know this could do that. And I'm not sure everyone is aware of the fact that all of these things are recorded. All of the resources on our YouTube page, on Facebook, and especially on our app. And I really encourage all of you. There were just some unbelievable words of wisdom that were shared on that particular active school and others. And so to spend some time listening to those, and it will remind you, you can connect the dots between those things and what Ryan, you were just talking about in terms of the success. I've often said that when people tell me about their success or their experience taking a product or something, I will never discount their testimonial, but unless there's science to go along with it, I might not really believe it's going to happen for me. Well, the same thing's true of business. If somebody tells me, if I look at statistics and say, well, the average distributor, in a network marketing company, this is how many people that they enroll. But then I see the hundreds and soon to be thousands of people who have been qualifying for the Momentum trip, for the 500 Club, and defying those odds, I might say, well, not only am I seeing people like, was it Jennifer? Is that what you said her name was? Who qualified for who did you just talk about?
Jessica Gonzalez.
Jessica. So she's defied the odds, and I might say, if it's just her personal experience, she must be extraordinary, and she is. But there are lots of other people that are proving the fact that if you can get those 5, and you can help those 5 get their 1, and as you do that, you are going to build your business. The rank advancements happen naturally, and so there really is this not only anecdotal and personal testimony, but there's also science. Doing that is the science of building your business. It's proven. You talk about it all the time, that these are the building blocks of success, and we're having people prove it all over the place, which also is interesting, because when we first started out, you and I and the corporate team and a few of the early distributors that joined us, we carried a lot of the load ourselves and a lot of the pressure in building this company and trying to get it going. But you know what? Now we've got so many more arms lifting the load and helping us move forward. That's why we're moving faster. That's why, because we just have a lot more people that are in the harness. And here I'm mixing all kinds of metaphors today. Sorry about that. But anyway, we're pulling in the right direction, and that builds momentum, and we're going to keep going faster and faster. And so for people who are on the sidelines and haven't decided, or they've been kind of inactive, I'll tell you what, man, there's never going to be a funner time to get on that train, that fast moving sled, that whatever you want to say, get on the winning team than there is now. And then looking around saying, well, it wasn't really working for me before, or I'm not sure I've had the success that I wanted. Just taking a hard look and just asking yourself this simple question: have I done the things that other people have done and that the company recommends for success? And it's okay. If the answer is no, just admit it, say, fine, I'm going to do better, and then just start. And just start again, and everyone then can get a taste of the success that so many are experiencing now.
Right. Yeah, completely agree. And just on the heels of what you just said, I noticed lately, David, and I know that you've noticed also, is that that we're at this real inflection point in the company, right, where people are stepping up and they're starting to really reach their goals. They're running hard. And then we've got other people who are looking around saying, what about me? How come I'm not growing? What do I need to do? And, because we don't have 2 hours on our hands to go through and kind of, analyze all of that and provide a full training. I just want to say that, sometimes, first of all, we've all been there. Even the people that are rank advancing, they've been there. They've been at that position of saying, boy, I'm not growing, or I'm going backwards, or what do I need to do to grow? Everyone goes through that. What I wanted to share kind of in closing is something that I also saw last month and that I'm seeing this month. And that is a lot of people locking arms with each other, right? People who don't necessarily, they're not experts in this. They've never summited the highest rank of any company or any compensation plan, but they believe that they believe in the epigenetic technology that we're bringing to the market. They believe in actives. They believe in what the promise of actives is, and they're locking arms with each other. Sometimes they lock arms with the people who invited them in. Sometimes they lock arms with people who are in their team. Sometimes they lock arms with other people who are in actives. Doesn't matter if they're in there, and I don't like using these terms, upline or downline. That's why I put them in quotes, right? They lock arms with other like-minded people in the company, and that's okay. We're all grown-ups, we're all adults. We shouldn't have to bifurcate and separate ourselves out by whose team are you in, and that's in my opinion a very old school way of thinking about how to attain success. So lock arms with like-minded people, right? And help them reach their goals, get to where they're going, and they'll help you. I'm going to share my screen real quick because this picture is a little bit emblematic of what I'm talking about. These are some shots that I got, pictures from some of our leaders at our last active schools down in Mexico. So top left, this is a team in Chihuahua, which is it's several teams mixed in there with different regions of the state of Chihuahua. It happens to be in the city of Chihuahua, but that also includes Cuauhtemoc and Delicias. Bottom left, I'm not sure. I think that was that's Danny Pizarro and Lucy Serra hanging, driving around. They went, I know that Tampico hosted Lucy, who's an A13 in their city. And what I really liked is the cross-line participation and support and endorsement that they are all giving each other. Bottom right, top right is Juarez, members of a few different teams there. But when I say this is emblematic of what I'm talking about, the success of the whole is the success of the individual, right? And right now we have leaders and organizations traveling around for success schools, doing trainings for people that may not even be in their quote unquote same team, as it were. And again, we're growing now more than we've ever grown in actives. And so we look at, what are we doing differently now that we weren't doing maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago? Well, for one, we're not in a full-blown pandemic, or 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And one thing that we're doing very well today is cross-pollination, right? Cross-line support. And I don't mean competition, and I certainly, we really do guard against disparagement, talking badly about, one person towards another. That's not part of actives. There's no place for that in our culture that we're creating here. But I am very, very happy to see the healthy relationships, cross-line relationships between leaders supporting each other's teams. And so that's something different that we're doing today that we didn't used to do. The last thing that I wanted to share, and I've got a picture of it, is, something that kind of inspires me. All of your successes inspire me. And I know, David, you and I are exactly the same on that. When we hear any anecdote, any story, any success story, whether it's of wellness, someone's personal testimonial and how the products are helping them live their life, have better quality of life, or whether it's through the opportunity that's available through being an independent distributor, those stories inspire us. This story I saw posted on Facebook, and it's one of the stories I love. It's a young single mom who joined our company without any network marketing experience at all. She's a social media influencer or working towards that. And she's been building and building and building and building and building and really working her tail off. She hit the rank of A12 a couple months ago. And now she posted this, and she's buying her first house. And she says, she's very, very happy and thanks God, her family, all the support that she's received from actives. And I like that she says here, feeling blessed. But she's able to purchase her very first house for she and her family. So truthfully, David, I had to share that because that inspires me as much as anything. And it really makes me know that we're in the right place at the right time. People have nothing to lose. They've got everything to gain if they are willing to throw in, right, on themselves. Get off the bench, get in the game, and just throw in hard, right? And just don't quit, right? Things like that are possible. How many of you listening to this would like to be able to go buy a brand new house with what you're earning in actives? And I know that Grecia Chavez, whose picture I just shared, she doesn't have another job. She's not promoting other products. She's not involved in other companies. She is 100% focused on actives. And as a result, she's reached the rank of Legacy A12. She's buying her first house. So that's what it's all about for me. And that's what I'm excited. I'm excited about the upcoming Actives Academy. I'm going to be in Mexico and Monterrey here in 2 weeks. This is, I mean, we're up more than double as far as people qualifying for the Momentum Escape trip. So great things are happening. The only thing that needs to happen is each one of you who are listening to this tonight, just make that commitment to say, look, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to get off the bench. I'm going to get in the game. I'm going to get rid of this analysis paralysis, and I'm just going to start running. And if you do that, you'll attain what these other people are attaining now. So anyways, I'm excited, David. What's on your, how do you see this month closing?
I think it's going to close strongly, and I think it's going to go. It came in like a lion, it's going to go out like a lion, a dragon, something.
That's
but
right.
I really like, that's a wonderful story about Grecia. And my last metaphor of the evening, Ryan, will be actually to encourage everyone to build their own actives house, whether that's literally or figuratively. And you might be working on the foundation still. You might be on the second level, wherever you are. But just do those basic things that other people have. It's not brain surgery. It's not, but that doesn't mean that it isn't difficult. And it does require persistence. It does require work, but the pathway is clear. There's just too much evidence, too many people who have decided not to let the naysayers control them, who have not decided to let other things that they can't control in their life dictate whether they can succeed. They've decided, you know what, I've had enough. This is my path. I'm just going to do it. And with those, you talk about horse races, horses that have blinders on, that's what they do. They just finally say, this is my goal. I'm going to work towards it. And Grecia is a perfect example of that. And I think it's a wonderful model for us all to try and emulate. So good luck, everybody. Have a great rest of the month, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you same time, same place in the month of April. Thanks, David.
Thanks.